Turn 1 Soul Ring.
We're back again. This is another episode of Turn 1 Soul Ring.
You have the music playing.
Oh, I do have the music playing. God damn it.
He does that sometimes.
That's all right. It's thematic.
It is thematic, yeah. Well, I guess we should introduce ourselves. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Eric.
And I'm Riley.
Yes, Riley's back.
I've been sleeping under the table this whole time.
That's right. We are wrapping up our two-part series on our Throne of Eldraine set review. And we do have some magic news for you guys.
Right.
We've got a bit of a hot take from Riley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think last episode I had mentioned promo packs.
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was a game day promo.
Yeah. So it used to be like with, Dominaria Standard and Ravnica Standard. If you went to an FNM, like Friday Night Magic or like a Standard Showdown or whatever, you would get, just as a participant...
Just for showing up.
Yeah, just for showing up, you'd get some sort of card, usually from that set. It was an alternate border, or in some rare cases, it could be an alternate art. Mm-hmm. And it might even be foil. I think most of them were foil in the Ravnica sets.
Or like the art would like extend into the text and stuff.
Yeah. They usually had like the Planeswalker symbol and things like that. Yeah, they just looked really nice, right?
Yeah.
And just a nice little...
Cool products.
Nice little treat for showing up. Even if you didn't win, you at least got something, right?
Either way, you're a winner.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but you got something. But what they did for Core 2020 is they introduced this idea of promo packs.
Right.
So instead of everybody getting an alternate border, alternate art promo, just I think each store is limited for how many promo packs they get in a standard season.
Yes.
And they have to figure out how they want to distribute those for each event. Mm-hmm. So at the local store that I play out of, usually what it looks like is for a draft, they get 3 of these standard promo packs and then 1 foil promo pack that they just raffle off to everybody there.
Right.
So whether it's 6 people show up for draft and they fire a pod, they raffle off 4 packs total. Mm-hmm. Or if it's 18 people and they fire off a few pods, it's 4 packs that they raffle off, and it's random.
So it has nothing to do with what your win rate.
It has nothing to do with win rate, which is fine, I guess. Like I prefer random promos versus like win rate promos. I think that just cause some extra feel bads, but I just don't like it. Like not only do not all of the cards in the promo pack come with an alternate border. There's actually 1 card out of each pack that has an alternate border. Yeah. The rest are just standard cards that you could get out of a booster pack of whatever is in standard that season. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it just feels cheap. I'd much rather have just a promo. Like, the promo is not necessarily of any monetary value.
It looks cool.
It looks great.
To put him in like that Opt promo from Dominaria.
Opt promo.
That was awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's like even Dovin's Veto. I have a few of those kicking around.
Those are really cool.
And it looks awesome, especially like the Azorius colors with that like silvery gray border. Like, looks awesome. Mm-hmm. And I'm just not a big fan of that change. Yeah, that change. Just,
do the promo packs have a certain rarity that you're going to be getting every single time?
Yeah,
like standard showdowns.
Yeah. So there's in a pack there's 4 cards. There's a basic land with a little promo stamp on it.
Right. It's the Planeswalker symbol, right?
But the art's the same.
Yeah, it's like right under at the bottom right corner of the art.
Right.
But the art's still one from the set, right?
Still like a basic land from any standard set.
Whoop-de-doo.
So they're just defacing a card.
Essentially, with a stamp. And then there's 1 either rare or mythic with the same just promo stamp.
Sure.
Not necessarily alternate art or alternate border or anything like that.
Okay.
Then there's going to be 1 alternate border card, like uncommon. I don't even know if there would be rare. I think more often than not, the ones that I've received, I think I've won 2 of them so far, and they've just been uncommon alternate border. And then 1 other random card. Yeah.
Just completely random.
Yeah, from that standard season.
Oh, so it can't be from Innistrad.
No. So like the last one, I actually,
I want a Snapcaster.
I won the other day, and I actually opened a Carnage Tyrant.
Cool.
Which cool. I mean, he's
Basically
rotating
worth a lot.
next week.
Yeah, he used to be like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, he's not of much monetary value now, but of course he is still technically part of the standard season. So
Yeah. Cool. Okay, well, the thing that I wanted to mention is the new Judge foils that were just spoiled. So it's like Chalice of the Void, Reflecting Pool, Eureka the Tiger Shadow, and Monastery Mentor, and they all have new art except Eureka. But it's always fun to be able to get a card that's never been printed in foil, which is what they're doing with Eureka. But Chalice of the Void, modern staple.
What does that card look like?
It's got like you can pass that to Eric.
Yeah. Oh, and that's Seb McKinnon too.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Yo.
And you can just flip it to see the other art. Yeah, like the reflecting pool.
I love this chalice.
The reflecting pool has like an energy field and like a bunch of hedrons around
it's got the Zendikar hedrons.
Yeah, that looks really cool. And Monastery Mentor also looks cool. I kind of prefer the original art, but it still looks kind of neat.
I kind of like how how the other monks, the prowess monks, are kind of sitting and praying with them, kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's
kind of makes them like appear more like as Djinn compared to like a monk, I guess. Yeah. You see like a bunch of mountains and they're just like floating above them.
Yeah, so I think those are all like really cool Judge promos. Those are
so much.
like those are gonna get into the open market and they're going to be valuable. But like Reflecting Pool is not a very expensive card. I mean, the original, are there old border foils of Reflecting Pool? I know it was originally printed in Tempest.
I want to say no.
But it's like, I think Reflecting Pool will be quite affordable, and Eureka will probably be, Eureka is just like Commander. It's the only place that sees play. And Monastery Mentor is quite a valuable card currently.
Mentor just went up because Blue-White Control is running Mentor now. So.
Exactly. Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that. I think those are some pretty sweet Judge promos. Those are going to get into the open market, and you can pick those up if you can afford them. Just a fun little group of promos.
I think I'd rather have that chalice than the invention.
Yeah, honestly, anything that Seb McKinnon touches is like
turns
gold.
He's a King Midas. Yes.
Yeah, it is so good.
Yes.
Like, oh man, I think one of my favorite pieces he did was Deliver Unto Evil from War.
Yes.
That was just incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about that one just because of the art. Yeah, it was so good.
That's right.
So good.
Okay, well, today on the show, we're going to be covering green, gold, and colorless cards from Throne of Eldraine. So buckle up because we're getting right into it. Okay? You going to buckle up, Riley?
I'm strapped in.
Okay.
Come on.
I didn't say... Okay, you can strap in
Shape
too.
up or ship up.
That's right. That's what I said. Okay, so the first green mythic we're going to talk about is Questing Beast. This guy looks mad.
Texting Beast. How much text can you get on a card?
Nice. Oh, yeah. Got him. Okay, so it's 2 and 2 green for a 4/4 legendary creature, Beast. Vigilance, Death Touch, Haste. Questing Beast can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. Whenever a Questing Beast deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target Planeswalker that player controls. Finally,
hell yeah,
an answer to Constant Mists.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
There we go.
In fact, you can run Constant Mists in this commander deck.
Yes.
You can do a fog tribal commander.
That's right.
Yeah. Just one-sided fogs.
Yeah, all your damage gets through.
Yeah. There you go.
And your creatures are safe.
Yeah.
This creature's so good.
It looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
I don't necessarily think you would see play in Commander unless somebody is like in your meta playing fogs all the time and you just need an answer to that.
Yeah, but you just wouldn't invite them anymore, right?
Yeah,
you're probably at the point where you just don't invite them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying do that, but
yeah. No, but I don't necessarily see it being played in Commander, but in Standard, this looks insane. Like, this is an answer to Teferi, which is what I've always wanted.
That's right. That's all you ever wanted.
That's all I've ever wanted. Hit them, hit Teferi. That's great.
Yeah.
Mono green Stompy is going to be having a resurgence, I think, with this set. So I'm pumped. I was like playing some mono green Stompy.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a few others in here that I think could fit into that deck.
I think we'll be talking about them.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, next Mythic is the Great Henge. It's 7 and 2 green for a legendary artifact. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Whew, okay. Tap, add 2 green. You gain 2 life. There's more. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw a card.
This card
It's so good!
It is so freaking good. This is like easy included commander.
Oh yeah, I think this is like a green commander staple.
Yeah,
totally.
This card is insane.
It's so good.
Everything you want to do.
Oh my god, yeah.
Cares about the power you have to make it cheaper, ramps you, gains you life, draws you cards, makes your creatures bigger threats.
It's perfect.
Like
it's just perfect.
It just does so much.
It's so I love it. Oh man. There's no downside. All right, next card.
There's no downside about
There
it.
you go.
Why is it called a henge though? It looks like a tree.
What is a henge?
A henge is like, when someone has like that's a hedge.
That's a
Never mind.
hedge. Okay, all right.
I don't know. I know in the story itself that is a portal.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so each I can't remember. It's like each guild, essentially, if you want to think of it that way. Each color has a specific artifact, and this is green's artifact, of course, but they all have different abilities. So, like the Cauldron of Eternity or whatever it's called.
That's what it's called.
That's the one that breaks Garrick's curse because he falls in.
Cool.
Nice.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, I love the lore.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're moving on to rares. The first one here is Gilded Goose. It's
Goose
one.
is loose.
That's right. It's a 1 green for a 0/2 bird with flying. When Gilded Goose enters the battlefield, create a food token. You can pay 1 and a green, tap Gilded Goose to create a food token, and you can tap, sacrifice a food, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So this is like a worse a Birds of Paradise.
Like way worse.
Way worse.
It's
not way worse.
Like
it's
a one shot.
It takes you 2 turns to make a mana every time.
Well, no, because it enters,
minus-
you get the food, and then the next turn you can tap it for the mana. to
Yeah, but then the
sacrifice
turn after.
Yes, you do. It is.
It's like a one shot Birds of Paradise. One thing to
I
note
said it was
is-
worse.
Yeah, like Oko. So the Planeswalker Oko, which I'm
Right.
sure we'll cover.
Yes.
He creates food tokens, and he's a 3-drop. So you could ramp into him. So there could be a standard deck coming in this new meta that could see Gilded Goose and Oko paired together pretty well.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
And also,
I do really love the art on this card too.
I think Gilded Goose is better late game in Commander than Birds of Paradise, because if you're drawing Birds of Paradise,
you don't want Birds of Paradise.
yeah,
totally.
exactly.
I
So
totally
it's a
agree.
little bit more relevant in the late game.
Totally. Definitely. You're right. When you're right, you're right. What do you think,
I
Eric?
guess so.
Well,
If I'm drawing this or birds, I don't care. I don't think this gives
it's
an
not-
upside late game in Commander.
A one drop that
Commander?
ramps me one turn is still good, I think. Yeah. Not great, but good.
Okay, next rare on the list is Once Upon a Time. It's 1 and a green for an instant. If this spell is the first spell you've cast this game, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I would keep this card, or I would keep a 1-land hand if this card was in it.
Hands down, because you just get to play this for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd see that.
I mean, you could totally whiff,
You could.
but I'd still keep it.
Going 5 deep, like you should be hitting something.
Yeah, I would
Yeah, if
hope
you
so.
built your
Otherwise,
deck right.
You know, if you go 5 deep and you don't hit a land on the first turn, then like you should probably just scoop and go home. Like
And don't come back,
Yeah,
right?
don't come back. Sell your cards, give up.
You know what, Riley? You're having a really bad influence on us.
No,
I should know that.
I guess like I'm not as high on this card as some other folks are. I could definitely see it being a little bit more broken in like creature combo decks in Modern. But in Standard, I don't necessarily know if this is going to see play. Just
Can't
given-
you cast this on your opponent? Sorry. You can continue. I interrupted you.
Yeah, you could. It's an instant, so you could cast it. Like it meets the clause, right? On your opponent's turn, you can cast it.
On your turn 0.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But keep in mind, we just came from a format in Dominaria where Adventurous Impulse was a thing, but that didn't see play. I mean, it only dug 3 deep, but it was the same effect.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
I still saw like some play, like I think like creature green. Like,
I don't think it was great though. Like, I mean, digging 5 is a lot different than digging 3.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like a creature impulse, right?
Yeah, I like it. I just think, it's like, man, like Ancient Stirrings, it's never let me down. Yeah. So like 5 deep is just...
Would you play it in Commander?
I wouldn't play it in Commander, but only because it's a 100-card deck, and I'm relying, like, if I have 4 of in a deck, right, like, I have a much better chance of drawing in my opening hand. You know what I mean?
Like, it's first ability where you can cast it for free. That's awesome. They're like a free card that gets you a land or a creature. But why not? Yeah.
And like Ancient Stirrings is only good if you have a deck that's green and you have an abundance of colorless cards. But if that's like, I'd almost rather run Ancient Stirrings because it's 1 green. You know, this is 1 and a green. I mean, it's instant, so that's better. Like if Ancient Stirrings with instant speed, that would be
and Ancient Stirrings can grab you Karn too, or Ugin, right?
Yeah.
This can't grab you either.
Or a Tronland.
Yeah.
Or a Chromatic Star. I've been there. Let me tell you.
Because this goes 5 deep, I think it could pop up in Standard, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys will. Until Wizards lets me play Arena, I'm not going to find out. All right, the next rare is Lovestruck Beast. And this is an adventure card. So the adventure side is Heart's Desire. It's 1 green for a sorcery. Create a 1/1 white human creature token. And the creature side is 2 and a green for a Beast Noble. Lovestruck Beast can't attack unless you control a 1/1 creature, and it's a 5/5. I really like this card for the flavor, right? Yeah. It's Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
But it's also really great because it's a 3 mana 5/5.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving you the 1/1 to meet that stipulation.
Yeah. And there's a few things in this set that care about how much power you have on the battlefield.
That's right, yeah.
So that could be relevant. And even then, like, turn 1, getting a 1/1, drawing a 3 mana 5/5, why not?
Yeah, totally.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay, the next rare is Return of the Wild Speaker. It's 4 and a green for an instant. Choose 1, draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control, like Lovestruck Beast. Non-human creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. So
the curse is broken.
That's right.
There it is.
Drawing cards at instant speed, very powerful.
He looks so happy.
Yeah, he looks great. Yeah. Huh? I'm so glad he's back.
Yeah, it feels pretty good, especially just like watching the video and then having this card here.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, that was a great trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about this card in Standard, but I think this is a great Commander card for that instant speed draw ability,
Yeah.
You're going to be drawing cards, a lot of them.
Yeah, and you can surprise people out of nowhere with that Anthem effect.
Totally. Yeah. No, that's definitely relevant. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like how much this set is, like non-human.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this card a lot. Okay. Next rare up. What do we have, Eric?
Let's get to these green stompy stuff.
Yeah.
Feasting Troll King is 2 of anything and 4 green. It's a 7/6 for 6 mana, Vigilance Trample. When Feasting Troll King enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, create 3 food tokens, sacrifice 3 foods, return Feasting Troll King from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activates this only during your turn.
Yeah, that's too bad that you have to cast it from your hand, hey?
Yeah. But like in mono green where we're ramping and playing big stuff, we're then going to have a 7/6, which we can just return to the battlefield at some point from our graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks great. My question to you, Eric, is would you play this or would you play the cat?
I'm going to play this.
You're going to play this?
Yeah.
Over the cat?
Over the cat.
But you could sacrifice the food that it makes to the cat. And
I could.
Drain for 1.
I could. But... some other cards that make foods work well with the cat. This card is mono green. It is not black when you're playing this card. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
4 green pips. That's
pretty steep. But I think there's definitely going to be some monocolor matters stuff happening in Standard, I imagine.
We got Theros coming up.
Yeah, with Theros coming up, Devotion's likely coming back too, right?
I don't know if they want to have such a homogenized Standard again. Mm-hmm. Like that was a very narrow Standard environment.
Well, I mean, it's going to be like monocolor versus multicolor with guilds, right? Guilds still being in the Standard format.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
There's a bit of both. I could see it going either way.
Monocolored matters would also look really great on a shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that comes up a fair bit on the show.
Bit, yeah.
What would look good on a shirt?
Yeah. Do you have a list of shirts?
I got a list.
Yeah.
Can't take any.
Okay, so next up we have. This is a good one.
Yeah, Steelbane Hydra. So it's X and 2 greens for a Turtle Hydra. The Steelbane Hydra enters the battlefield with X when counters on it. You can pay 3 to remove a counter from the Steelbane Hydra to destroy target artifact or enchantment.
And you can just keep doing that.
You can keep doing that.
Oh yeah, this guy's from Brawl, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you betcha.
Oh, don't you know?
Let's go down to Horton's. It's fine, we're Canadian.
Can you get me a cruller, eh?
Anytime you can just repeatably use an ability like this is very powerful.
Yeah, I think he's going to be so good in Commander. Mm-hmm. Get rid of all the artifacts and enchantments you don't want there.
Yeah, and now that we have that Hydra from Core 2020, that legendary Hydra that reduces the cost.
Oh yeah,
that's like a bunch of tribal Hydra decks popping up. I've seen a couple at Fusion already.
I mean, Turtle Hydra. Do you think we could get there on a Turtle Tribe?
Well, we have what's that card from Modern Horizons? The Changeling Commander.
Oh yeah,
Morophon.
Morophon, yeah.
I actually.
If there are enough turtles, I'll do it.
I lost to a Frog Tribal Morophon deck. It was
kudos to that guy.
It was pretty spicy.
That sounds sweet.
He was going deep for sure.
Yeah, I bet he was.
Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Tribal.
Oh yeah, I like it.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Have some ninjas and turtles. That'd be great.
Oh, that has to happen.
Yeah, we can go back to Kamigawa, but with turtles.
There you go.
Yeah.
Got the Turtles in Time music playing.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be
Big Apple, 3 a.m.
Yes. I say that all the time at work, and everyone looks at me weird.
I think that means we're getting old.
Yeah.
All right, what is the next rare we got here?
We got a Thorn Mammoth. It's 5 of anything and 2 green for a 6/6 with trample. Whenever Thorn Mammoth or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Thorn Mammoth fights up to 1 target creature you don't control.
This thing was legit in that Brawl format.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah.
When it was on Arena, that thing was premium removal. It was great.
Removal on a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no downside to this card.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
They should have given it Death Touch.
You should have made it a turtle.
Yeah, Turtle Mammoth.
Yeah.
Turtle Mammoth.
Yeah, the now extinct species of turtle mammoths.
Yeah, I think this card is just super good for Commander. Again, even with the last card, getting up to 6 and 7 mana in Standard it definitely does happen. Maybe you really have to. Deck has to be tuned in a very particular way.
Yeah, but in Commander and especially in Green, there's so many ways to ramp, but also cheat creatures out ahead of curve. So, and then you're just keeping other creatures off board, right? Every time you bring a creature in. So it's a fight. I think is a very. I think it's kind of underplayed. And it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, I
agree. And it's Green's creature removal.
That's how they do it.
Unless you play Beast Within. Or the Great Aurora. You can play the Great Aurora, but know which deck to put in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Teamer Hugs.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so next up we have the Wildborn Preserver. So this is 1 of anything in a green for a 2/2 Elf Archer. It has Flash and Reach. Whenever another non-human creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay X. When you do, put X 1/1 counters on Wildborn Preserver.
Another Flash creature for the Flash deck.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Especially since everything in the Flash deck is non-human.
Yep.
You got spirits, you got merfolk, you've got elves.
A wolf.
You've got wizards.
The wolf thing.
You've got wolves, yeah. There you go.
And then, like, if you just throw in, like, a 1/1, you have, like, 5 mana, 4 more mana. This is now a 6/6. Hoo boy.
And keep in mind, it pairs pretty well with the Flash Wolf.
What's the Flash Wolf?
I think it's Nightpack Ambusher.
Yeah.
That's from Core 2020?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Because this cares about whenever a non-human creature enters the battlefield. So if you're just passing your turn and a wolf enters the battlefield, then you can just spend mana.
Whoa.
There you go. Make a big stupid elf.
Yeah. That's super. This fits right in there.
Yeah.
That deck's going to get real good.
Yeah, it seems legit.
Sweet.
Okay.
One last green rare.
Yeah.
We have Veau, Lord of Garen Brig. Garen Brig, I don't know. But he's a giant for 3 green. Veau, Lord of Garen Brig, enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it.
So he's a 3 mana 4/4.
Yeah.
Nice.
Whenever another green creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Veau. Then if that creature's power is greater than Yorvo's power, put another counter on Yorvo.
Whoa, that's like Evolve, but...
Actually, like, a little bit better.
Yeah, a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because it cares about it entering and if its power is greater. Yeah.
So this guy's going right in that
spicy.
green stompy deck for standard. Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's just missing trample, but other than that.
Yeah, it's just a big stupid.
You just would have had to like lower the font one and then put in trample.
Yeah.
It would have fit.
Yeah. I mean, 3 mana 4/4 is pretty good. I think I actually like this a little bit better than Lovestruck Beast. I mean, they might even pair well together.
They could pair well together because you get in the...
On turn 4, you can make 2 bodies with Lovestruck Beast and trigger Yorvo like 3 times.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice. Yes.
And
Well, it's going to care about the... he only gets triggered twice, I think, because the 1/1 enters.
The 1/1 enters, so it triggers his ability. It doesn't have greater power, so it doesn't trigger it a second time. But then the Lovestruck Beast enters.
It doesn't have greater power as a 5/5. He's 5 now.
But you can put the Lovestruck Beast in first. Oh, wait, no, you can't.
You can't. You can't get the 1/1 then.
Bit of a nombo then. But you can trigger it twice.
It's still good.
Oh, totally. Okay, so let's move on to the uncommons. First up, we have Flaxen Intruder. It's an adventure card. So the adventure part is Welcome Home. It's 5 and 2 green for a sorcery. Create 3 2/2 green bear creature tokens. And the creature part is a 1 green for a human berserker. Whenever Flaxen Intruder deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. When you do, destroy target artifact or enchantment. And she's a 1/2.
Yeah. I really like this for limited.
I really like this for the flavor, right? It's Goldilocks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The middle blade was just right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. No, but in limited, like usually I wouldn't care for a 1/2 for 1 with like slight upside, but the fact that late game you can dump 7 mana into this thing, get 3 bodies, and at 8 mana you get 4 bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it seems legit. And plus there's an artifact enchantment theme going around.
Yeah, exactly.
So it might actually be relevant.
Yeah.
You have to deal the combat damage, which is might be difficult, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We
All right.
agree on that. Okay, so next uncommon is
The Beanstalk Giant.
that's right.
Ooh, I love this
Yeah,
card.
more giants. So this one has an adventure. 2 of anything in a green. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So it's not tapped.
Correct.
And then for 7 mana, you get a Beanstalk Giant, and its power and toughness is equal to the number of lands you control.
Oh, I didn't even realize that it wasn't tapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So it's like a pseudo rampant growth.
Yeah. And then you get a big beater in the end.
Yeah, I think it's great. This is going to be awesome, especially if there's like a multicolor deck that you want to throw together in limited, or if there's even just if you want to just ramp into your big stupid creatures in limited. Like this thing's great. It's a big stupid creature himself, so ramp into himself.
There we go.
yes. So the next uncommon we have is a card I actually forgot to put on my list, but yeah, go nuts.
So next up we have the Kenworth Transformation. So it's one of anything in a green. Enchant creature. When Kenworth Transformation enters the battlefield, draw a card, so it replaces itself.
That's nice.
And then the enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a green elk creature with base power and toughness 3/3.
So it's like Frogify, but better because it replaces itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in green.
It is.
And
it's also
a 3/3, but I mean in Commander that's probably not too relevant.
Yeah, and it also does have like the game day promo art, but we're not getting game day promos anymore. So
Unfortunately,
that's too bad.
Well, some of us might be.
Yeah,
but that's randomly decided.
Yeah,
no, gotcha.
Which is great. Yeah.
And the packs are random too.
It's like, hey, can we do it based on merit? They're like, no.
You win prizes for that.
Yeah, I think this is a great card. Just because it replaces itself, it's just like great green removal. Like we're not going to get destroy target creature in green, but yeah, this is.
We can get something like that. Transform it.
Yeah, no,
You're an elk now.
Yeah, I think this is an awesome card. In Enchantress, you're getting all the value off of it, right? You're controlling that enchantment, so I like this card a lot. Mm-hmm.
One last uncommon in green before we move on. We have Once and Future. So it's 3 of anything and a green for an instant. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Put up to 1 other target card from your graveyard on top of your library. You do have to exile Once and Future.
Yeah.
We have Adamant coming back. So if at least 3 green was spent on it, you get both those cards back to your hand.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a double regrowth.
Yeah. Pretty much. For double the mana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spicy.
No, that's
Spicy.
That's very good. That's like adequate for it's like if you had double
what the
regrowth,
value is, yeah.
right? And in Commander, like what do we want?
I'm gonna be able to
in a singleton format, we want we want more regrowths, but we want we want repeatable effects, right, of the same thing, which we don't often get because we're in a singleton format.
Yeah.
So something like this is awesome.
Yeah, if you're jamming powerful cards, reusing those powerful cards is going to be good.
Mm-hmm. And if you have regrowth in your deck, just replace it with Once and Future.
Well, maybe run both.
No, I'd sooner run regrowth over this. Honestly, I like the fact that regrowth
It's 2 mana?
is 2 mana. Like it's just so efficient.
But if you're in green, you're ramping a lot.
Yeah. No,
I would run both rather than
I'd
just
run both.
cutting regrowth.
Yeah,
sure.
Just because it's all about keeping that curve down.
Yeah, regrowth is just so efficient. I'd sooner play regrowth over this, but I would definitely play it in 10.
I would sooner play regrowth than have you on this show again.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. I already run regrowth in all my decks. Don't worry about it. Okay, we're moving on to gold cards here. And we're going to start with Mythics like we always do. And first up, we have Oko, Thief of Crowns. He is a 4 loyalty legendary planeswalker. He costs 1 green and a blue, and his +1 ability is create a food token. His or +2 is create a food token. Yeah. +1, target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elk creature with base power and toughness 3/3. And his -5 is exchange control of target artifact or creature you control and target creature an opponent controls with power 3 or less. Wow, that's like a real garbage Gilded Drake.
Sure
right?
is.
Because Gilded Drake is just 1 and a blue.
Yeah.
And you get any creature.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the worst ultimate abilities on a planeswalker I've seen.
Well, I don't know. Okay, don't get me wrong. In Commander, I don't see this scene play.
No, of course not.
Hands down. In Standard, it might see play.
The card itself could see play, but I'm just saying that you're not going to be using that ultimate ability. That ability itself is
the fact that you could
because you can do it on the second turn. It's in play, right?
Yeah, the second turn you can -5 and it's still at 1 loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but it's under 3 power.
Yeah, but you're giving them a food token. And taking whatever relevant creature they have.
That's
right?
fair. Yeah.
And with all the sack abilities that care about food tokens, I think you can get value from that.
And for +1, you can turn it to fairy into an elk.
That's right. No, it's target artifact or creature.
Ah, sorry.
Man, you gotta relax about
Teferi thing. Holy.
But you could probably steal their elk and beat them down with it.
Beat down the Teferi.
Beat down the Teferi with their elk.
There you go.
Hey, yeah. Yes.
That's how we're getting there.
Don't take their elk. Take something better.
You can't take something better. It's
Yeah,
power 3 or less.
If they're
You can't do it.
if they're playing Azorius control with like only Teferi and no creatures, like you're probably gonna have to turn something into an elk.
Fair enough.
And beat them down with it.
Okay, well, yeah, this, I don't love it either. Okay,
Teferi just bounces it to their hand.
Yeah. Okay, so next up we've got Garrick, Cursed Huntsman. He is a 5 loyalty planeswalker for 4, a black and a green for a legendary planeswalker. His 0 ability is create 2/2 black and green wolf creature tokens with, when this creature dies, put a loyalty counter on each Garrick you control. So Garrick, planeswalker tribal.
Yeah.
His -3 is destroy target creature, draw a card. And his -6 is you get an emblem with creatures you control, get +3/+3, and have trample.
Now this is a freaking good card.
Yeah. No, he's doing work.
Doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
You don't even need the Garrick tribal because like you're creating both those wolf tokens for blockers or whatever you need them for.
Or you can sacrifice them, right? You're in black.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Elspeth. Like when her plus ability makes 3
1/1s.
soldiers.
Yeah.
So making 2
Are so
is really relevant. Like just being able to chump and gain loyalty from chumping.
Yeah.
Right? And then next turn, now you have this emblem that all your creatures are relevant for the rest of the game. Like that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, your 1/1s are 4/4s and have trample. Yeah.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Your elks are 6/6s.
Your elks that you stole.
There you go.
I turned it into an elk and then I took it.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we have Sultai because we have Oko and Garrick. There we go.
There you go. Mm-hmm. And story-wise, that works very well because Oko is brainwashed Garrick.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He calls him dog, and he's his dog.
Wow, that's disrespectful.
Yeah. I mean, don't worry, Garrick gets his curse broken.
He breaks the curse. Yeah.
It's a happy ending.
Fairy tale.
Okay, next up we have the Royal Saiyans. It's they are a 5 loyalty planeswalkers for 1, a blue and a red. Their +1 is draw a card, then discard a card. Their other +1 is target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. And their -8 is draw 4 cards. When you do, the Royal Saiyans deal damage to any target equal to the number of cards in your hand. So I'm always a fan of a looting ability. I think that it's always good, right? Like it's card selection. It's better than rummaging, but I don't really like this planeswalker. I think they're kind of trash.
Yeah, I don't know. The looting ability is good, but otherwise it doesn't really protect itself, and
Which is what you want with
Yeah.
any planeswalker.
and plus Narset. So that makes me sad.
Yeah.
'Cause Narset just shuts them down pretty much entirely.
You do get a 5 loyalty planeswalker for 3 mana and
That
go to
is-
6.
Yeah, that's relevant.
It's a beefy planeswalker.
And there is an enchantment that I think is on the list that cares about drawing a second card and creates a fairy. So with those fairy tokens, you can turn them into 3/1 flyers with first strike, and that might be relevant.
Yeah, so it's like if you have both those cards on the field, that you draw them both and play them both in the right order, can get it. You get it to work.
They synergize well together, but I don't know if that's going to be a thing.
Yeah, but they are both is it cards. So
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
They do.
I'm
work
wondering
together.
if this works with a Phoenix deck.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems a little slow for Phoenix, especially since it casting the Scions doesn't
get you.
trigger Phoenix. Yeah.
Because Phoenix just cares about instants and sorceries,
Yeah.
right?
But this does loot you through the deck to find those cards.
Yeah, but instants and sorceries also loot you through the deck to find those cards too.
Okay, so next card, I wanted to talk about this. This is the Planeswalker deck, Planeswalker for the Simic deck, the Oko deck. So it's Oko the Trickster. It's 4, a green and a blue for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker. Not a great rate. +1, put 2 1/1 counters, +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature you control. 0 ability is until end of turn, Oko the Trickster becomes a copy of target creature you control. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to him this turn. And his -7 is until end of turn, each creature you control has base power and toughness 10/10 and gains trample. So I just like this card for the ultimate. You know, it's going to be difficult to get there, but if you have a creature on the battlefield, you know, you want to have a creature on the battlefield so that you can activate their first ability. You don't need one, but you obviously want to have a way to protect him. But, you know, if you've got a bunch of little like weenies on the battlefield, you turn them into 10/10s, you know, you're probably going to win that game.
Yeah, if you have doubling season out, he ultimates right away.
You could probably say that about a lot of Planeswalkers.
Yeah, I mean, like, like 6 mana, you just win the game. That's fine.
Yeah, as long as you have the, you know, appropriate
like a bunch of dorks.
Yeah. Or like like, you know, like Edric with doubling season. That seems like a stretch, but
yeah.
You know, you could probably just win the regular way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, like outside of its ultimate, I'm not.
No, of course not.
It seems pretty janky.
No, I know that.
But that's exactly what you'd expect from
Yes.
a Planeswalker deck. So.
Yeah, they're not great. Okay, so the next, this is a mythic still, yeah. So this one is Outlaws Merriment. It's 1 a red and 2 white for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose one at random. Create a red and white creature token with those characteristics. So you could create a 3/1 human warrior with trample and haste, or a 2/1 human cleric with lifelink and haste, or a 1/2 human rogue with haste. And when this creature enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to any target. So, you know, I think this is just a fun card. Obviously, in like a token deck, this is just going to give you value. But I think even in limited, like this, you know, not even late game, because it's 4 mana, like this could just give you continuous value.
Yeah, it is a mythic, though. You're probably not going to see it too often.
Probably not, no. And it is a gold card, too, so you're not going to necessarily pick it, you know.
Standard, Teferi, bounces it. Yeah, I'm not really into do nothing enchantments when they enter the battlefield.
Right,
so.
right. Yeah, it would be much better if it was end step.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
End step trigger.
Yeah, something like that. But then the haste wouldn't be relevant.
Hey, when you're right, you're right.
unless they created creatures that could attack on your opponent's turn. That's digging deep.
Yeah. No, it is. Eric, there was a couple of mythics you wanted to talk about, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
They're basically like the brawl deck commanders.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh no. It's okay. It's a can.
So the first one is Alayla, the Artful Provocateur. So it's 1 of anything, and then Esper colors, so white, blue, black for a 2/3 flying, death touch, lifelink, fairy warlock. Other creatures you control flying get +1/+0. Whenever you cast an artifact or enchantment spell, create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying. Just a lot of value. All the stuff in the air.
Yeah. She was a lot of fun to play. I think she was like my pet favorite deck when they released Brawl.
Yeah, this one was a lot of fun to play. Also, like, I could see it being like an Esper flying deck in Standard as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. All these cards are standard legal. But in Commander, like you're winning with just the fairies in the air that are getting the Anthem effect.
Pretty much. You're just dumping a bunch of cheap cantripping artifacts and artifacts that have relevant abilities and just like beating down with a bunch of dorks.
Yeah.
Flying dorks.
I don't think it's a good strategy.
It was relevant. Like keep in mind, Brawl is 1v1.
No, I'm saying in Commander.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not...
Yeah, I'm sure there's some broken things you could do to barf out some creatures, but in Esper, I don't think you're getting much haste.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
You can, like, you know, the best you can probably do is pseudo haste where you're creating the creatures on other people's turns, right? On the end step before your turn.
Yeah, give your non-creature spells flash or something like that. Cast a bunch of artifacts.
Yeah, like Vidal Canore or Leyland of Anticipation.
Yeah.
And then the last one, the one that I liked the most from the Brawls was Corvold, Fey Cursed King. It's a
Does
dragon.
that mean he's cursed by fairies?
He was turned into a dragon at his feast.
But he was a man before?
Yeah, he was a king.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know if I'd be too choked if
He's,
I got turned into a dragon.
He's eating his guests.
Hey, yeah, he is.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Flavor.
Yeah, if you're a dragon, you're just a dragon. Like, I don't know. Breathe
You're
fire.
still like
Dragons gotta eat, you know?
Yeah.
you got that right. But you're still like you're still a sentient creature as a dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So like I don't think I'd be. I mean, I'd be more choked if I was like a fruit fly. You know.
Well,
As an example.
You know, a man turning into a dragon at a feast, he's probably already hungry, and then just becoming that much bigger, he's even hungrier, so he's got to eat something.
You don't think he's like the same amount of hungry?
I don't know.
It's just like-
does the food scale up?
I think
This
it's
guy?
subjective, right? Like
don't know.
it's just like you. I'm the same amount of hungry, but I'm just bigger. You know.
Well, maybe he was always a cannibal, and now he's just able to.
Well, he's not a cannibal now because he's a dragon. He's eating people.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Maybe he just likes human flesh.
And now it's not
you know
accountable
what?
for it.
Yeah.
And now it's socially acceptable for him to eat his guests.
Yeah,
Being
and
a
what are the
dragon?
cops gonna do? He's a dragon.
Yeah.
He's
And
gonna
whatever
eat
you're
them.
eating, you can, no matter where you are, you can cook your food before eating it.
There you go.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's read
That's-
the card because I think we've
This
talked
is
enough
really good
about.
podcast content. So Corvold, Faker's King, 2 of anything, and Jund, so black, red, green. Flying 4/4. When Corvold enters the battlefield or attacks, sack another permanent. Whenever you sack a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Corvold, then draw a card. Now this is a good card.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would even run this as a commander.
Yeah. Seems like a fun Jund commander.
Yeah, very much. Because no matter what you're sacrificing, it doesn't have to be from him. Even if you're just sacrificing stuff, he gets the +1/+1 counters, and you're drawing cards for all that stuff being sacrificed. Let's
Yeah.
throw that Get Rog monster
Yeah, I think
right
I was
away.
just
Like
about
that's
to
like
say, yeah, it's like anytime I can play Get Rog, I feel happy.
yeah.
Yes. God, he's good. Why did he have to be so good? And like even like Corvold could be a cool like Voltron commander too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And with like with edict effects to keep your opponent's boards clear. You know, I think it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, totally. And with the colors, you can still like create tokens and stuff, so you can be sacrificing token creatures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you get a doubling season out, so you get extra counters.
There
you go.
And ultimate any planeswalkers
I would
you might
actually
play.
probably run Hardened Scales over doubling season in
Yeah,
this
I know.
case.
It's just it's a joke from before.
Just sacrifice your Hardened Scales to his ability.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, let's move on to some gold rares. So the first one I have here is Lockemere Serpent. It's for a blue and a black for a 7/7 Serpent with flash. You can pay a blue, sacrifice an island. Lockemere Serpent can't be blocked this turn. You can pay a black, sacrifice a swamp. You gain 1 life and draw a card. Or you can pay a blue and a black, exile 5 target cards from an opponent's graveyard, return Lockemere Serpent from your graveyard to your hand, activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So it's kind of hard, like, it's not that it's hard to remove, but in Commander anyway, it could be very easy to get back, right? Because you're playing with so many more graveyards.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be okay with like looting this into the bin and just like messing up somebody's graveyard.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. Yeah, that kind of removal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Commander it might be fun. Standard, like Teferi shuts down the flash and then bounces it. So.
Yeah, and then to make it unblockable, like you have to. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Because Teferi is the only thing you see in Standard.
He's the only thing I seem to play against, honestly. It's like, how can I kill Teferi today?
And you know, like the activated abilities, like their effects are very relevant and powerful, but you are losing lands, and like that's not all. You know, when you're doing that, you want to be doing that when you're about to swing for lethal kind of thing, or when you don't care about lands anymore.
Yep.
So.
Or then if you have ways of, you know, like a Crucible of Worlds or
Yeah.
the Serpent.
Yeah, then you don't care.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And just swinging in for 7.
7's nothing to shy at.
Absolutely not. No. Yeah. Okay, next up we have Bloom Tender Reignited.
Should have called it that.
It's Faber Elder. It's 1, a green, and a white for a Tree Folk Druid. It has Vigilance. Faber Elder gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. And you can tap it for each color among permanents you control. Add 1 mana of that color. So any deck that you, and Riley and I were talking about this before we recorded, any deck that you're running a Bloom Tender in, you can pretty much slot this into the deck because it's just another version of that. It's just a little harder to cast.
Yeah, doesn't need to be running white.
But in a 5-color deck.
Yeah, 5-color.
Right.
Sure.
Not, any deck. I did say any deck. But in any, are you running Bloom Tender a deck that is less than 3 colors? You know what I mean?
3 colors is usually the minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in a 5-color deck, I mean, like if I'm dropping a 3-mana Tree Folk that can tap for 5 mana, like that's pretty awesome.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually.
No, this card's great.
You can swing for 5 before he taps anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's only a rare, This is a great commander card.
Yeah, and like if I open this in limited, I'd be happy with picking it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks.
Well, it's also a 2/2 for 3 mana, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's
with
not
Vigilance.
not the greatest rate, but yeah, at the very least, it's tapping for 2 mana.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can attack and then
that's
use the mana.
Ramp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this card's really
I
good.
like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick up a playset probably.
Yeah.
Try to get to fairy with it.
Okay, the next rare we have is Dance of the Manse. It's X, a white and a blue for a sorcery. Return up to X target artifact and or non-aura enchantment cards with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If X is 6 or more, those permanents are 4/4 creatures in addition to their other types. I love this card.
Yeah.
So, we've, cards like Open the Vault or Replenish.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful effects. Especially Replenish. That's why it's, like $60. Yeah. But this card...
Well, also...
reserve list.
Reserve list.
But anyways, yeah.
But this card, not only does it get you back all of, you've built your deck to, be an artifact and enchantment-centric deck, and you're bringing all those permanents back, but now they're also creatures. Right, so this is really getting you back in the game. Plus, you have a way to defend yourself, and you have a way to beat down players. Yeah, like your opponents.
It's kind of like an Open the Vault mixed with a Opalescence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
One thing to note is it only gets non-aura enchantments. So if you're running a Voltron commander with auras, it's probably not the place for it. But in just an Enchantress build that plays a lot of just global enchantments, then that's the place for it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so next up we have Escape to the Wilds. It's 3, a red and a green for a sorcery. Exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may play cards exiled this way until the end of your next turn, and you may play an additional land this turn. So this is like it's not Skewer the Critics, but it's the other card.
Light Up the Stage.
Light Up the Stage, where you had until your next turn to play those cards, which is it's almost like card draw.
Yeah. Just make sure you play those cards the next turn.
Right.
Yeah, very much like a Commune with Lava, except for 5, not one red and an X.
Yeah.
That's if you miracle it.
What?
Commune with Lava?
Commune with Lava was from Dragons of Tarkir. It's a red and an X, and exile a top X card to your library. You can play them until the end of your next turn. But it doesn't have that you may play an additional land ability.
Mm-hmm. No, it does not.
That's nice.
So a correction on the Commune with Lava is actually 2 red and X. But it is an instant, so that much is nice. Exile a top X card to your library until end of your next turn. You may play those cards. But I do really like Escape with the Wilds because, exile 5 cards and get a land drop. That's pretty strong.
Yeah. If one of them's a land, right?
Yeah, like digging 5 deep, I'm sure you'll hit a land. But you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, you really don't.
Dig 5 deep and scoop it up.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a land that you exile. Like, you could have one in hand.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Next up is the Gluttonous Troll. So it's 2 of anything, and then black and a green. 3/3 troll, trample. When Gluttonous Troll enters the battlefield, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. You can pay one of anything in a green to sack another non-land permanent. Gluttonous Troll gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So even if you're making a bunch of food tokens for 2 mana, this guy gets 2 bigger. It doesn't have to be food tokens either, just any permanent.
Nice. Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
Cool.
I like
yeah.
Bouncing.
Oh boy. Okay. All right, we're gonna move on to the uncommons, where like this is pretty much like Riley Town.
Yeah, right. Welcome to Riley.
The gold uncommons. Welcome to Riley Town.
Yeah. I included some of these hybrid gold cards just because obviously
These like signpost uncommons.
yeah, these are kind of some of the signpost uncommons. Kind of points to some of the themes that limited may have. And interestingly enough, like you'll see a theme with these being 4 pips of hybrid mana. Like you could play these in those colors, or you could choose one as a monocolor. If monocolor happens to be a theme of the set and it's draftable, then these could be supported in monocolor decks. So this is, to start, we've got Deathless Knight. It's 4 hybrid Golgari pips. It's a creature skeleton knight. It's a 4/2 with haste, and whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, return Deathless Knight from your graveyard to your hand. So I'm not huge into this guy particularly. I mean, a 4/2 for 4 is pretty bad. It does have haste, but it trades down pretty poorly.
Yeah.
The fact that it has some recursive value and there are a lot of food tokens floating around that you could technically gain life and get them back to your hand might be worth it, especially if you can like loot them away for value with some card draw or something like that.
Yeah.
He might see some play in limited, but I guess we'll see how the format all shapes out to be.
Seems pretty spicy.
Yeah.
I like it.
Next we've got Fireborn Knight. He's 4 pips of Boros. So red-white. Creature, human knight. He's a 2/3 with double strike. And his activated ability is another 4 pips of Boros. Fireborn Knight gets +1/+1 until end of turn.
Oh, isn't that good?
Yeah, so I mean, like the Boros colors seem to be the Boros colors seem to be caring a lot about knights and equipment.
Right.
And if you can slap any piece of equipment on this guy, he becomes a real threat.
Yeah.
And just the fact that he can pump himself in the late game is something to do. Like when you've got
Yeah, it's a mana.
Yeah, it's
sink.
something to do,
nothing
for
else
sure.
to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a 2/3 for a 2/3 for 4 with double strike is actually pretty serviceable. Like the difference between a 2/3 double strike and a 2/2 double strike is pretty big, considering that if it doesn't kill it the first time around, at least it's got a slightly bigger butt that can protect itself at the end.
Yeah.
Both die to a lightning strike.
We're talking about limited here. I guess it is a common removal spell, eh?
Yeah, whatever
Well,
else
no-
you have. Like,
no,
I don't. There isn't one in this.
There is that common red removal spell, but I mean, there's going to be removal in limited no matter what.
No matter what.
All right, next we've got Elite Headhunter. This is 4 pips of Rakdos. It's creature human knight, and it's got menace. It's a 2/3, and for 3 Rakdos pips, you can sacrifice another creature or an artifact to have Elite Headhunter deal 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. So again, this is kind of, I mentioned it earlier on, but how this Rakdos kind of has a sacrifice theme.
Right.
And there's enough food flying around that you've probably got some fodder to sacrifice to deal 2 damage to a creature or planeswalker. I mean, planeswalker's probably not going to be as relevant in limited, but dealing 2 to a creature repeatably, just for like little downside, that's huge.
Yeah.
And I mean, a 2/3 menace, it's all right.
And
But
that's fine. You might be able to still get in there sometimes because like having a
Yeah.
block with 2 creatures is annoying sometimes.
yeah, and
but,
you could probably set up some attacks where they make an unfavorable block, and then you sack something, kill one of their creatures, and take out the other one.
Yeah, totally.
With combat damage.
Totally. Yeah.
So
I do
think,
like that ability on this one though.
Yeah, this it seems pretty legit. I'm probably the most excited about this one so far.
Okay, next card up, we have a Grumgully the Generous. He's 1, a red, and a green for a legendary creature, Goblin Shaman 3/3. Each other non-human creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. So this would be pretty good with like persist.
Yeah,
right?
It definitely combos well with persist.
Yeah.
Very well, yeah.
And the name is amazing.
Grumgully.
Grumgully.
Yeah.
The generous.
It doesn't matter what it is. Take it and be grateful. I don't know. I think I would have done something more like don't look a gift horse in the mouth, but you know, whatever. I think it might matter what it is. You know what I mean? You know.
Yeah, I'd play this in limited. I mean, if I have 3 mana 3/3, that makes your other creatures more relevant.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a great creature.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, he kind of looks like a Dr. Seuss character, hey?
Almost.
Yeah. Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the next one is Occam Ranger. This is another continuing in the hybrid cycle of limited playables. This is 4 pips of Selesnya, so white-green for a creature elf knight. And this one's got adventure. It's a 2/2 creature on one side, but the sorcery is bring back for 4 of the same pips of Selesnya. For a sorcery adventure to create 2 1/1 white human creature tokens. And then the elf knight itself can tap to have creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So green-white seems to be some sort of like go wide creature/adventure theme.
Yeah.
So you could probably, through some of the stuff that we've talked about already, get some value with like bouncing Occam Ranger to get more tokens to then in the late game make your tokens more relevant and swing in and get them.
Right, get him.
Get them.
It's all about getting them.
Yeah. Okay, and now we've got Rampart Smasher. So
giant tribal.
Yeah, giant tribal. Here we go. So this is 4 pips of Gruul, so red-green, for a creature giant 5/5, and Rampart Smasher can't be blocked by knights or walls. So the knights piece might be relevant against some matchups, but I don't know where walls would necessarily line up. There's a few walls kicking around in the set, but I don't necessarily think that's going to be a particular issue for a 5/5.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And I mean, he's just a big dumb creature, which is exactly what Gruul looks for. So
Definitely.
and he's a non-human, so that might matter.
Like how's Rampart and then it's Knights and Walls, so it's very fitting to like a battlefield.
Yeah, get.
Yeah, yes. Okay, next up we have Steelclaw Lance. It's a black and a red for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. You can equip a knight for 1, and you can equip everything else for 3. So I kind of hope that Wizards does more of this kind of thing, because we saw this with Helm of the Host, where you could equip a legendary creature for a lower equip cost, and then everything else for a more expensive equip cost. So, you know, it's kind of cool that they're...
Sorry, are you thinking of Blackblade Reforged?
That is what I'm thinking of.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Helm of the Host is just one.
Yes. Yeah, I'm thinking of Blackblade Reforged. I hope that, like, Wizards does more of this for, like, the tribal theme, because it is really cool.
Yeah.
To sort of make it more enticing for a particular tribe to use certain equipments.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a decent amount of knights in a limited deck, this is a legit piece of equipment.
Oh, totally.
Like the equip 1 is good. Equip 3, not so good.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
Equip 3,
yeah, you definitely want to be equipping knights with this.
Yeah.
Next is Savvy Hunter. So this is 1 green and a black for a creature human warrior. It's a 3/3, and when it attacks or blocks, create a food token. And then you can use its activated ability to sacrifice 2 foods to draw a card. Again, a 3/3 body for 3 and limited is pretty relevant. And I just like its upside of not only giving you food tokens to work with for your sacrifice theme, but also giving you an outlet in itself to be able to turn those food into card draw, which, in my opinion, is better than 6 life.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take 2 cards for 6 life, please.
All right, now we've got Resolute Rider, so back to the hybrid cycle here. It's 4 pips of Orzhov, so white-black, for a creature human knight, for a 4/2. Again, not huge fan of those stats. Like 4/2 trades down pretty poorly. It's got 2 activated abilities, though. So the first one is for 2 Orzhov hybrid pips. You can have Resolute Rider gain lifelink until end of turn. And then for 3 hybrid Orzhov pips, you can have Resolute Rider gain indestructible until end of turn. So I guess at the very least it can get in the late game if you've got nothing else to do with like very little downside.
Yeah, you pay 5 mana, you're fine.
Yeah, pay 5 mana, gain some life, make it indestructible so it doesn't trade down. So I probably like this. I don't know. Again, it really depends on how it all plays out, because the other Golgari 4/2 that can recur itself to your hand whenever you gain life, that actually might be okay, given that it's kind of a sacrifice theme,
right?
And you might need a little bit of that kind of recursion. But this seems fine too. Like this, I like the fact that it can protect itself, but I'm not overly excited about it.
All the knights can kind of like work together in a way.
Yeah,
it seems.
Yeah, knights seem to be pretty dispersed across Mardu, so you could probably have some combination of those colors. Okay, now we've got Covetous Urge. Is that right? Covetous?
That's Covetous.
Okay.
You
so
covet
it's quite urging.
Yeah, I got an urge.
So this one's a little bit different. It's still part of that hybrid pip cycle, but it's not actually a creature. So we've got a 4 Dimir Pip sorcery to have target opponent reveal their hand, and you choose a non-land card from that player's graveyard or hand and exile it. Then you may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. I really like this card, just because, you know, it just gives you something out of their graveyard or their hand to cast for yourself. It's a little slow. I don't know how powerful it's going to be, but just the fact that you can kind of take their bomb, whether, you know, you manage to kill it and take it out of their graveyard and replay it, or get it out of their hand before they have a chance to play it. I think this will be a lot of fun to play in Limited, but I guess we'll wait to see how good it actually is.
Yeah. How often are you going to see somebody cast this and get a bomb out of it?
Yeah, the thing is, it's not really affecting the board state right away. The fact that you get to spend mana as though there were any mana
is a good upside.
For as long as it remains exiled, that is really cool. It's not like you have to do it that turn.
Oh, I thought you had to do it that turn.
No,
it just stays.
Cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Gonti in a sense.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the 2/3 Death Touch body, which I mean makes Gonti, in my opinion, a little bit better. Obviously, slightly different ability as to where you're grabbing that card from.
But you can also neuter your opponent's hand in this way, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, but for mana to strip their hand of something's not amazing. But the fact that you get to play it after, I think that's what makes it somewhat relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. All right, and I think this is the last piece of the cycle. This is the Lock Dragon. 4 pips of Izzet for a creature dragon. It's a 3/2 flyer, so not a bad rate for a 4-drop flyer at 3/2. And when he enters the battlefield or attacks, you may discard a card, and if you do, draw a card. So Izzet has this kind of theme of caring about drawing the second card each turn. And I think this guy is going to pull it all together, just in the sense that when he ETBs, you get to make your hand a little bit stronger. Of course, it's not card advantage, but it's card filtering, so you get to improve your hand a little bit.
Yeah.
And then whenever it attacks, that attack trigger is really cool as well, because there's other creatures that kind of care about, you know, getting a little bit bigger when you've drawn your second card. So if you can make your creatures more relevant as you're swinging in, not when you're hitting the player, but as you're swinging in, then I think this card is going to be a really, really good addition to your Izzet deck.
Yeah, for sure. And I know we mentioned it before. I'm just going to bring this guy up. The Improbable Alliance. So that's the Izzet card. It's an enchantment that's like 1 blue, 1 red. Whenever you draw your second card, you get a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying. So having that out there with like those cards.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kind of like build your own Bitter Blossom.
I thought it was on the list. Sorry, that's my fault.
Yeah, no, it definitely what this archetype is caring about is it caring about drawing cards, and honestly, so far, it's my favorite because I love drawing cards. So
Sweet.
Okay, let's keep it going.
All right, we've got Shine Chaser. This is a 1 white blue creature fairy for a 1/1 flying vigilance. The thing is that Shine Chaser gets +1/+1 for as long as you control an artifact, and +1/+1 for as long as you control an enchantment. So having a potentially 3/3 flying vigilance for 3, that's a really good rate. Great card if you can support it, and like Azorius is going to be that enchantment artifact matters
Oh
kind
yeah,
of deck.
yeah, totally. Ooh, game day promo.
There we go. Let's see if we can get him. All right, we've got Inspiring Veteran. So this is a red and a white for a 2/2 creature human knight. And other knights you control get +1/+1. So
Finally.
yes. A Night Lord. There you go.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you care about having knights in your deck,
I care.
Then he's going to care about your knights for you.
Okay. We can care together.
Yeah, you can care together.
I think Abzan Knights is going to be a legit standard deck.
Yeah, no, for sure. Or Mardu.
Or Mardu.
Mardu Knights, I think, will be legit as
I think Sultai Knights are going to be a thing.
You know what? Why don't we just make Bant Knights?
Let's just do Wooburg. Get all those 4-color Pip Knights in there.
Honestly, with...
what did I say?
You said Mardu.
No, I said Mardu.
You said Abzan.
You said
I meant to say Mardu.
Yeah, Mardu.
Mardu's
but
the way to go. We don't need green.
Oh, man.
There's the Selesnya Knight. The card's slipping my mind right now, but it's the one that enters the battlefield and can destroy target artifact or enchantment or gain 4 life.
Oh, Knight of Autumn.
Knight of Autumn, yeah, and that
Jinx.
is an item.
You owe me a...
You owe me a Coke.
No.
There you go. But yeah, Inspiring Veteran, probably going to be good in a heavy limited Knight deck, and also going to see playing Standard if there's a Knight tribal theme, which it looks very well supported, so I think that might be the case.
Yeah, I think they're kind of pushing us in that direction.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
somebody's got to get that to Fairy.
You're right. You have to get it.
Now we've got Wandermare.
It's a horse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a horse. We got one colorless, a green and a white for a creature horse, 3/3. So again, not a bad rate. But whenever you cast a creature spell that has an adventure, put a +1/+1 counter on Wandermare. So it's just going to get bigger. So again, green-white kind of cares
That's
about
what horses
adventures.
do.
Yeah, just get bigger. When you go on an adventure, they just get stronger.
That's right. I feel like Riley and I have this kind of like unspoken inside joke about hoofed creatures in Magic. Like if there's like an elk or like those elk creatures that are like hearts, you know, like burnished heart, or like the horse creatures. I don't know. It's like he says them in a certain tone to me, and it's just like
They get bigger.
You get it, right? It's like these like they got hooves. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I don't.
A good steed will carry you home. A great steed will carry you to glory.
Man, I'd take just a good steed. You know, I don't need glory. I just want a friend.
Yeah. Notably, when that creature enters the battlefield, it doesn't have to have actually gone on an adventure. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's one thing to point out in its reminder text. But yeah, again, Green-White Adventures looks a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, the cycle wasn't over.
I
You
lied.
said we were done.
Yeah. Well, we gotta skip this Turtle Hydra.
No.
Turtle Hydra Tribal. Okay, so we've got Thunderous. We got Thunderous Snapper for 4 Simic Pips. We've got a creature Turtle Hydra. It's a 4/4, so a good rate. 4 drop for 4.
Yeah.
Or 4/4 for 4.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you cast a spell with converted mana cost 5 or greater, draw a card. So I like this. There's a couple higher end commons in this format, like 5 mana, 6 mana.
Right.
That I think would go well in this kind of Simic big stuff deck. And there's a decent amount of ramp that you could probably get there. Mm-hmm. I love any creature that has some way of drawing cards from it. And there's notably, I think it's a 5 and a blue for a 4/5 that if you control an artifact, when it enters the battlefield, you bounce target creature an opponent controls. And that would be great. Like, not only drawing you a card when it enters the battlefield, or when you cast it, I should say, but then also bouncing an opponent's creature and leaving behind a 4/5 with another 4/4. Looks like a lot of fun. Just like Simic big stuff.
Also, I wonder how the thing eats. All of its heads don't really have a neck.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, how does it swallow?
No, Just like, does it like rotate it? Like if you look at the art on the card, does it like rotate around so that each mouth gets to like...
I think so. Or they bite on the same thing at once.
They can't though because of how it's shaped.
But what if the creature's
look
like
at the mouth like
turned-
over here.
But what if the creature's like turned that way?
What happens
Sure.
when you
And
flip
they
it
all
on its
bite.
back?
No, it's not going to make it.
If you flip it on its back, is it just going to die?
Yeah, that's what they do.
Okay.
Also, if you read the flavor text, this sings, while humans hear only a deafening roar, the Fae hear music of breathtaking beauty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe they just got bad taste in music.
they probably do.
All right. We've got a creature is Wintermoor Commander.
Winter's coming.
More winter. It's a white and a black for a creature human knight with 2 and X. It's got death touch, and its toughness is equal to the number of knights you control. So that's what the X value is. Whenever Wintermoor Commander attacks, another target knight you control gains indestructible until end of turn. So I mean, the fact it's a 2-drop with death touch is fine, and the fact that it protects one of your knights is great too. So again, just another way to play Knight Tribal.
Yeah,
Yep.
they want us to play Night Tribal, you know?
Yeah, and he's just gonna if you get 3 knights on the battlefield, now you've got a 2/3, which he counts himself, right?
Yeah.
You've got a 2/3 for 2 with death touch that makes one of your knights indestructible. So I mean that's a good rate.
Yeah. Last one in the cycle.
Yeah.
This
I
time
was
is
so
for
far
this
off.
time is for real.
Yeah, are you sure?
I'm absolutely sure.
Okay, don't lie to me. Okay, we've got Arcanist Owl. So it's 4 Azorius pips, so white blue, for an artifact creature bird. So notably, it is an artifact itself, which does matter because this is an artifact matters theme. It's a 3/3 flying for 4, so that's a good rate. I'm happy with that. And when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact or enchantment card from among them and put it into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So basically, if you've got a high enough amount of artifacts or enchantments, it's essentially a 4-drop, 3/3 flyer that's drawing you a card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even better than drawing you a card, because at that point in the game, you're probably looking for something a little bit more relevant than a land, and you're a little bit more likely to hit something in that case. But again, you kind of have to care a lot about artifacts and enchantments to get any use out of it.
Yeah.
But even then, even if it was at its baseline as a 4-mana 3/3 flyer, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So-
It's still good stats.
Yeah, it's great stats.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the colorless cards.
One more.
Oh, you got one more?
I had one. What I'm most excited about, we have Drown in the Lock. So I think this is actually going to be maybe even seen in Modern. It's a blue and a black for an instant. You get to choose one. Counter target spell with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. Destroy target creature with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in that controller's graveyard. So when people are fetching lands,
Yeah.
graveyard's stocking up already, and this card lets you either counter spells or destroy creatures.
And at that stage in the game, you're casting. You know, you have the lands after you've fetched, right? You're casting spells at the same cost, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's definitely.
And then a lot of the
possible.
times we see a lot of the big bad creatures are like 2 or 3 CMC, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
this is probably going to get rid of what you needed to.
Yeah. Just to take out that goif.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah, just flexible main board removal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
So I'm interesting to see how this card plays out.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, let's move on to the colorless cards. So first up, we have Sorcerer's Spyglass. It's 2 mana for an artifact. As Sorcerer's Spyglass enters the battlefield, look at an opponent's hand, then choose any card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. This is just a nice reprint. It's nice that they're keeping this in standard.
Yeah.
And you can hit Teferi.
You can, but it doesn't hit static abilities. So that's a big beef with a lot of the Spark Planeswalkers is they all have static abilities. So it doesn't shut off Narset, doesn't shut off Teferi's sorcery speed text. So It's good, but not the best.
Oof, okay.
At least your creatures aren't being bounced.
Yeah. Hey. Okay, so the next card is a land. It's Castle Vantress.
Yep.
Castle Vantress enters the battlefield tapped unless you control an island. It taps for an island, and you can pay 2 and 2 blue to tap and scry 2. So I think you could just slot this into any mono blue commander deck that you have, because unless you have this in your opening hand and it's the only source of blue mana, it's not going to enter the battlefield tapped.
Honestly, I'd play this in like a two color deck.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you just have to have one other island for it to enter untapped.
And I would even play it in 3 colors because it says island. So even if you have the dual, it doesn't care about basic.
And it taps for blue. You're not always going to, like, 4 to scry 2 isn't a terrible rate, but worst case scenario, it taps for blue.
Yeah, it taps for blue, but like the fact that you just have something to do on a land, that is what is so relevant.
So these lands are going to be great.
I think all of them are great.
Okay, so next up we have Castle Lockthwain. This is the black land. Castle Lockthwain enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp. It taps for a black, and you can pay 1 and 2 black, draw a card, then you lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. So something I've started to do over the last few months with my commander deck is to slowly take out the cycling lands unless the deck is cares about lands in the graveyard.
Sure.
But I would definitely, if I had a Baron Moor in a deck, I'd replace Baron Moor with this land, because you can repeatably draw cards. Like, you are losing life, but sometimes you just would rather draw cards.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're in black and commander, there's ways for you to gain life.
Oh, tons.
So this land, I think this is my favorite out of the cycle. It just looks awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you're drawing cards off of a land, so.
Yeah.
And it's 3 mana. It's not.
Yeah. It's even less than the scry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's because you're losing life.
Cornerstone of black. Next up, we have Castle Garen Brig. Castle Garen Brig enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a forest.
The Volio guy.
It taps for a green, and you can pay 2 and 2 green, add 6 green to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activate abilities of creatures.
Yeah,
ramps you 2 mana for creatures.
Yeah, it's like in the late game, it's basically tapping for 2 mana for creature spells.
Right.
So I would 100%, if I was in green, I would run this over Temple of the False God any day.
Oh man, I took Temple of the False God out of all my decks.
Yeah, I do not like Temple of the False God, but this is way better than Temple of the False God.
Totally. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Because it still taps for green.
Oh yeah.
If you only if it's the only land.
Even if it's the first land you play and it enters tapped, and then the next turn you don't use it.
Yeah, and if you didn't have a turn 1 play, it's it's might as well be the same thing.
If it was a temple, it would just be sitting there.
Mm-hmm. Does feel weaker than the other 2 lands we just talked about, though.
Oh,
probably.
Yeah, no, I agree with
probably.
that. Yep.
But it's got very little downside. I think that's where the power comes from in these lands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's very little downside in playing them.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have Castle Embereth. Castle Embereth enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a mountain. It taps for a red, and you can pay 1 and 2 red to tap it. Creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn.
Cool.
Yeah.
Go wide. Bunch of dorks.
Yeah.
Boom.
Goblins.
That's right.
There you go.
No,
gobble gobble.
And again, there's just not a ton of downside to running this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have Fabled Passage. It's a land. You can sacrifice Fabled Passage, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. If you control 4 or more lands, untap that land. So this is just this is like a budget Prismatic Vista from Modern Horizons.
Yeah.
But this is still a great card.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I honestly, most of my mana bases in Commander are fairly budget, so I run Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds. Yeah. And I would be happy to run Fabled Passage, because in the late game, when I need that mana after turn 5, this is great.
Oh, totally. And if you have this in a lands deck, you're just getting those landfall triggers, over and over and over again. Okay, next up we have Castle Ardenvale. It's a land. Castle Ardenvale enters the battlefield tapped unless you control planes. It taps for a white, and you can pay 2 and 2 white. Tap, create a 1/1 white human creature token. That's 5 mana for a 1/1?
Yep.
Yikes.
But, I mean, again, very little downside.
To
doing so.
Yeah. No.
There's no downside.
Yeah, like
I can't decide if
control.
this.
Okay, so like if you think of Legion's Landing, which is rotating out, right?
Right.
Creates a 1/1. You have to attack with 3 creatures to flip it into Adanto, the Last Fort.
Yeah.
And that one you're essentially paying 4 to make a 1/1 with lifelink. But think about it like in control decks that don't care about attacking with little dorky creatures. Like they can slot this in and have something relevant to do pretty much all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I mean, 1/1's not super relevant, but it's something, right? Like there's no card disadvantage to doing that.
No, you're right.
The nice part about the castles as well is that they're not legendary.
Yes.
So if you do want to run multiples, you don't have to worry about losing one when you play one.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I do have a couple rares.
Yes, that's right.
We have the Stone Coil Serpent. So this is just X. Reach, trample, protection from multicolored. Stone Coil Serpent enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Just pay X for Big Snake. It's got reach, trample, and pro multicolor.
That'd be a bomb in limited.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Even seeing, like, playing before Ugin's Construct,
Yeah.
which I thought was, like, sort of bad, but maybe.
Yeah.
That card was actually really good.
Yeah.
So this thing has reach and trample.
Yeah. Scales at any point in the game, just always relevant.
Yeah. And then we have all those, like, uncommon multicolor cards we just talked about. They can't do anything about this. You can just swing in no matter what.
And it's got protection, right?
Protection from multicolored.
Yeah, so even against multicolored creatures, like the hybrid cards that we just talked about, they can't block.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
And they can be blocked for eternity. Although, I mean, I'd be swinging in with that guy. Unless I cast him on turn 1 for 1. What am I doing?
And even, like, doesn't get hit by Assassin's Trophy.
Yes.
And stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
So
or Knight of Autumn.
Knight of Autumn can't touch it.
Yeah. Teferi.
Hey!
There we go.
Teferi killer.
Fucking get him.
And then the other one, I'm guessing this is from the Brawl decks, the Tome of Legends. So it's 2 mana for an artifact. Tome of Legends enters the battlefield with a page counter on it. Whenever your commander enters the battlefield or attacks, put a page counter on Tome of Legends, and then you can tap in, pay 1, and remove a page counter to draw a card.
That's not terrible.
Yeah. If you have a commander that you're attacking with, that's where the value really comes from, I think.
Yeah.
If you're not attacking with your commander, I don't think you should really run this card. But
that was in the Bant Brawl deck, right?
I'm not sure.
I think it was.
Yeah, the Tulane deck.
Yeah, Tulane.
Yeah.
And it was actually pretty good. Like, because anybody who played that Brawl format knows that, like, you had to kill Tulane, otherwise you were going to lose. So you were casting Tulane quite a bit.
Yeah.
And just anytime that, even, like, he had Vigilance, and you could probably swing in just fine as a 2/4, just to get an extra trigger and just have that recurable card draw. So it is pretty relevant, yeah.
So interesting, because like I didn't play very much of the Brawl format. I probably 80% of the time was against the Knight deck.
Yeah.
I didn't even see someone play Tulane.
Oh, I played Tulane. It was a lot of fun. Very mana hungry, though.
Yeah, I was playing Corvold.
Okay, so let's move on to the uncommons. The colorless uncommons. So I have Enchanted Carriage here. It's 5 mana for a 4/4 artifact vehicle. When Enchanted Carriage enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white mouse creature tokens, and it has crew 2. I'm not going to read what crew does. But I don't think this is like a great card. I just like it for the flavor. I think this is like a super great flavor win because you get like mouse tokens and it's like a pumpkin carriage.
Yeah,
it's
like
great. Cinderella, right?
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I could see it being played in limited. There's enough artifact matter stuff, and the fact that it can crew itself and it creates 2 additional bodies, like, that's not irrelevant.
Yeah.
Crew 2 is also a really good rate on a card for these artifacts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Their vehicles. Yeah.
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 Okay, so next up we have Tournament Grounds. It's a land, and you can tap it for a colorless, or you can tap it for a red, a white, or a black. Spend this mana only to cast a knight or equipment spell. So, Knight Tribal again in Mardu. Yep. And, it's nice that you can still tap for colorless if you want to cast another spell. Yeah. It's those mana rocks and lands that are so specific that you can't use them for anything but their like sort of tribal mechanic. Yeah. Is just I don't like running those cards in decks. I've tried them in tribal decks and they just if you have them on the field once and you need to cast something else that won't allow you to do it, I feel like you don't want to run this. You just like get them out of the deck.
Yeah. It's also cool because it does pay for the equipment as well, not just knights. So I do like that.
There's definitely a few multicolored equipments running around. So
yeah,
and you can use the colorless to pay for equip costs.
Yep.
So there you go. Because equip costs don't. I don't think you ever have to pay color for equip costs. Not ever.
No,
I don't think so.
The only things I can think about is like, which set was that in? Basically, the ones that you could pay colored pips to attach, like at instant speed.
Oh yeah, that was the like cranial plating.
Cranial plating.
Yeah. Ooh, I wish I was playing standard back then. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no.
I've got a few more of the uncommons here.
Oh, okay.
Got Lucky Clover, which is 2 mana. Whenever you cast an adventure, instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. So in that Adventure Cares deck, just copying all your adventures, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, definitely.
It's about, yep. Moving on to the Shambling Suit. 3 mana for a construct, which is star 3, and the power is equal to the number of artifacts and or enchantments you control. So running that artifact deck, or this even slots into like Enchantress deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely
get big out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And then just a fun, interesting card. We do have Sorcerer's Broom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 2 mana for an artifact creature spirit 2/1. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, you may pay 3. If you do, create a token that's a copy of Sorcerer's Broom.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
3 is a lot, though.
3 is a lot.
3 is definitely a lot.
But you can just keep making tokens of this.
That's
like
true.
Endlessly.
Yeah. There was...
If you're going to sack one of your food tokens, you get a 2/1 broom. Yeah,
there was the 5-drop 2/2, I think it was Self-Making Replica, that whenever you cast an historic spell, you could pay 2 to make a copy of itself. And trust me, I built some janky decks around that card, but it wasn't that great. So 3 mana is pretty steep, especially since 2 mana was steep enough.
For a 2/1?
For a 2/2. Yeah. Well, I guess in that case it's a 2.
This is a 2/1, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty steep.
Okay, let's move on to the commons.
All right, we've got another cycle of lands, and this is a common cycle of lands. We've got Dwarven Mine. This is a land mountain, and it does have the mountain type, so in cases where you were using a fetch land, you could fetch it out.
Yep.
It obviously taps to add red, but Dwarven Mine enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other mountains. So, late game, it's going to enter untapped, which is nice. It doesn't enter tapped all the time.
Right.
And when it enters the battlefield untapped, create a 1/1 red dwarf creature token. So another addition for the 7 dwarfs deck.
right.
No, I honestly, we'll see it as we kind of go through this cycle. I think the fact that they're a common kind of interests me enough to see if they could see play in a format like Pauper.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Next up.
Next we've got Idyllic Grange. So it's a land plains, taps for white. Idyllic Grange enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other plains. And when Idyllic Grange enters the battlefield untapped, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So, again, a little bit of upside if it enters untapped, so a little bit of a workaround, but at the very least, you could search it up if you were really hankering for a +1/+1 counter.
Sure, yeah. Okay, next up we've got Witch's Cottage. It's a land swamp, so it taps for black. Witch's Cottage enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other swamps. When Witch's Cottage enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. So this is sort of like, not Bajuka Bog, what's the other one? Mortuary Mire.
Yeah.
And you can fetch it, so if you really need to get that creature out of your graveyard, you can do that. So...
Yeah, and I think it's actually a little bit, I don't know, it's kind of hard to evaluate it, but like Mortuary Mire enters the battlefield tapped all the time. So, I mean, unfortunately, you only get the advantage of Witch's Cottage when it enters untapped, so you do have to have 3 other swamps for it to enter untapped. But still, like late game, when you need that ability, that's pretty relevant.
Totally.
And fun fact, this is the first time Cottage has ever been printed on a Magic card.
Wow, that is a fun fact.
There.
You think it would have been printed
2
already? Yeah, that is number 2. Oh, no.
I snuck it in. Next, we've got Mystic Sanctuary. This is a land island. Taps for blue. And Mystic Sanctuary enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more islands. When Mystic Sanctuary enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. So just like Witch's Cottage, just for instants and sorceries.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, we have Golden Egg. So this is a 2-mana artifact food. When Golden Egg enters the battlefield, draw a card, and you can pay 1, tap, sacrifice Golden Egg, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and you can pay 2, tap, sacrifice Golden Egg, you gain 3 life.
It's an egg for eggs.
Yeah, I just think this is like kind of a, I don't know, this seems like an efficient card.
Yeah, it seems fun. I think there might be an artifact. Okay, so I've played a mono blue artifact deck using Ugin and Flood of Tears to drop Ugin back in and just spill your eggs onto the battlefield.
Right, because you
draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah, everything costs.
Unfortunately, a number of the mana rocks like Power Stone Shard and Gilded Lotus are rotating out of the format.
Right.
So it's probably not going to be as strong as it is currently. But I mean, if something does pop up with eggs in the future, it could see play.
Hey, you know what? You can play it in Historic.
Yeah, you could play it in Historic.
Just make sure you have the cards because they'll get you.
Yeah. No, I definitely like this better than Guild Globe, which is the current egg in the format. 2 mana, enters the battlefield, draw a card, and you can. I think it's pay 1, sacrifice. Wait, no, pay 2, sacrifice, and add 2 mana of different colors to your mana pool.
Yeah, they have to be different.
Yeah, so I like this a little bit better. In Limited, it's probably going to see play. Again, artifacts matter in enough decks, and it helps fix colors. So, great card.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Okay, last but certainly not least.
We got our Gingerbread.
We did.
Yeah, Gingerbread Cabin. It's a land forest, taps for green, and again the same clause. When it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other forests, and when it enters the battlefield untapped, create a food token. So again, there's might be some food matters themes, or at least some artifacts that you can sack and get a little extra value out of. So anytime you can kind of get a land giving you extra value, I think that's good and worth looking at. And who knows, might see play in Pauper, Gates Burn.
Yeah. I can see that.
Get them foods.
Get them foods.
All right, well, before we bring this episode to a close, are there any cards that we talked about today that you guys are planning on throwing in any of your commander decks? I'm definitely going to throw in Faber Elder into Slivers, because that's just perfect in there.
Perfect.
Yeah, Faber Elder looks really good.
I'm putting Castle Vantress into all my blue decks.
I love the Castle cycle.
Yeah, they're so good.
I'll probably find a way to squeeze those into some
Not the white one.
Again, very little downside to playing those cards. So, like, if it comes down to it, and I really need,
it could be good for like an edict effect.
Or whatever, right? Like, I'm sure you could use it for something.
Yeah. What about you, Eric? What do you think?
Putting Gilded Goose in all my notes.
I'm taking take it for birds out.
I really like the Great Henge. I don't have as many green commander decks, but that is going in those decks.
Yeah, Great Henge looks great.
Oh, so good.
So good.
Maybe even Garrick. the Cursed Huntsman.
Yeah.
I like Garrick a lot.
Yeah, he looks like a lot of fun. And out of, Planeswalkers are hard to play in Commander, but I think he's definitely up there with some of the more playable stats.
Yeah, because he like doubly protects himself.
Yeah, you get 2 tokens.
Yeah, and he's got got built-in removal as well, with card draw on that removal. So that's really cool.
Yeah,
the
awesome.
The Steelbane Hydra, I think is a really good commander too. Yeah. Being able to destroy artifacts and enchantments on sticks.
Repeatedly.
Yeah, and it's a turtle, so it matters.
Yes.
Yeah, turtles do matter.
Turtles. Turtle.
Right, Master of Disguise.
Yeah,
that's right.
Such a good movie.
No.
I mean, it's not a good movie, but we'd have fun watching it, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's good in my childhood memory, but it doesn't age well.
We should have that playing in the background in our next Commander League.
There you go.
Let's do it. Yeah, we won't pay attention to the game. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we're going to wrap up this episode of Turn 1 Sol Ring. We're going to be back next week, continuing our archetype series. And in the meantime, if you'd like to get in touch with us, ask us any questions, you can find us at turn1solring_thepodcast@gmail.com, on Instagram at turn1solring_the podcast, and you can follow me on Instagram at commandbeacon. And Riley, do you have anything to plug, social media?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at RilesDayton, RilesDeighton.
Do you have to spell your last name a lot, like in daily life?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. If I go to like an office somewhere and I gotta check in, it's like no, it's not DAY, it's DEI.
Man, if someone asked me how to spell your last name, I'd just be like, boom.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're currently doing our September giveaway of 6 Throne of Eldraine booster packs. That's going to be split between 2 lucky winners. And you can enter that by finding the giveaway post on our Instagram account, and we'll announce the winners for that at the end of September. And on October 1st, we will be starting our October giveaway, which I don't think we've decided what that's going to be yet. It's probably going to be something spicy though, because it's October. Maybe something like Halloweeny. This set's kind of Halloween though. It's sort of serendipitous that it came out at this time of year, or they just planned it. That's probably what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Spotify. And wherever you find us, go ahead and give us a little rate and review, and make it 5 stars. That we'd really appreciate that if you could do that. Just make it a nice review, okay?
Say nice things.
Yeah, just say nice things.
Yeah, say nice things.
That's gonna be my catchphrase for this episode.
Yeah.
Just say nice things, guys. We're wrapping it up.
Show me your TBs.
Yeah. What do you
make good choices?
Okay. Yeah. Say nice things.
Turn 1 Sol Ring.
What's both their names? Is it Will and Kenworth?
Will and Kenworth. Rowan. No, it's Will and Rowan Kenworth.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then that new knight, the king, is Kenworth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just noticed
they're
that.
the kids.
Oh.
They're the babies. They're the royal scions. Like Violet is my scion.
They were born of a witch.
Or also my progeny.
Yeah, in the story.
Or my spawn.
Yeah. I could spoil the story for everybody.
Don't spoil the story, Riley.
They turn into planeswalkers.
Oh, fuck. I just had to say it.